Hi, everyone. My name is Lisa Levy. I'm a data specialist at Satori. It's really great to be here and to talk about data security and data security platforms, specifically for healthcare and life sciences. This is an area that I am actually particularly passionate about. I think that healthcare and using healthcare data and encouraging healthcare research is really important because healthcare outcomes are something that we all, really think about and care about. So we've seen, tremendous growth in health tech and in healthcare, especially over, recent years. And this really is used to drive health outcomes. If we think about it, healthcare and health outcomes are significantly improved from what they have been. And we want to make sure that we kind of continue on this upward progression so that we can continue to kind of empower healthcare and health outcomes. So we want to have this or generate this continuous and sustainable growth and innovation within healthcare and health sciences and life sciences. And at Satori, we really think that the ability to do this is your ability to share data and to make data available as quickly as possible, but while securing it. So data really is the key to moving this along and making sure that data is, used in the place that it needs to. And we know that we have a lot more data than we've ever had before. We have this data that needs to be collected, it needs to be stored, it needs to be managed, it needs to be shared between all of these different systems and teams. And, there's just a wide, very, very broad, disparate group of individuals that need to get their hands on this data in order to make, the best use out of it. And so we really want to make sure that that data goes where it's needed and that it's secured while it's going where it's needed and that it's going there quickly. Because there is a significant time aspect to making use and value from that data. We know that healthcare data is very sensitive. It's one of the most sensitive types of data. It's also very heavily regulated because it's so sensitive. So therefore, we really need an effective and efficient way to ensure that we have this quick and easy movement of data while protecting it to ensure that it's secured and also to ensure that our organizations remain compliant and we don't get into too much trouble. We can see here from the quote that we have from one of our customers that really we want to make sure that secure data is the fastest way of doing something. And this is really applicable to healthcare and health sciences and life sciences and health outcomes. We want to make sure that we can use the secure data in the best or in the most efficient and effective way possible. Okay, so we think that a data security platform is actually the way to go. So a data security platform really is necessary to ensure the rapid movement of data, to increase the time to value from this data so that we can actually make use of it while it's fresh and at the same time protecting it. So I just want to touch on kind of these 5 pillars of a data security platform. We want to enhance or encourage data protection. So the ability to continuously and automatically discover sensitive data across a very wide range of data stores is critically important because this data can be spread everywhere and in all kinds of places. We want to help to ensure that all of sensitive data is located. Classification, of course, of sensitive data so that your data inventory is always up to date. We always know where everything is. Of course, masking this data so that it's protected in the right way. This can be done through a number of different ways. We know that we have roles and attributes and policies and all different types of ways that we mask data, but we need to make sure that we follow the policies and that all sensitive data is masked according to what's necessary. Controlling access, and this is something that we at Satori really focus on, which is making sure that we really control and secure access. And that we automate this. Controlling access to sensitive data, this could include just-in-time, this could include self-service access, but the point here is that we really want to make sure that we enable access to data as quickly as possible, but securely. So we want to make sure that we give people access when they need access, and when they no longer need access, we take it away. So we don't have privileged users, but we still encourage the use of data and the movement of data securely. And then, of course, monitoring and auditing is significantly important to make sure that what's going on, where everything is, that we're HIPAA compliant, that we are compliant across all regulations, and that we're always audit ready. So we've kind of touched on that. So why is innovation in healthcare really so important? And it's really because it drives health outcomes. And that's something that we can all relate to. We all want better health outcomes, especially now and in the future. And so innovation in healthcare is really important. We know that there's been this rapid growth within the health tech industry and in life sciences, and that this is really the foundation for increasing innovation and healthcare outcomes. So it's really important to note, though, that this growth in healthcare innovation is dynamic, right? It requires a tremendous amount of movement of data. We need to touch on different individuals. There's data, there's time, there's resources, there's individuals. There's all these different teams that are trying to touch it and work on it in order to create this innovation and these health outcomes. And so there are some, of course, some significant risks associated with enabling the movement of healthcare data. While we're trying to move it across all of these different groups, we need to make sure that it's secure. And so we really need to ensure that the individuals within the specific teams get access to only the data that they're required to get access to, and that access is then revoked once they no longer need access. And so we don't have these overprivileged users, we don't have security risks, and that we can keep this, this synergistic movement, and we can increase the synergy and create these health tech innovations that are really necessary for outcomes. So we want to make sure that we can unlock and enable the use of secure data. So as noted, and I know this is a long definition of innovation in healthcare that I borrowed from Deloitte, but the point here, what I really liked about this definition is this idea of expanding the realm of possibility, right? Innovation in healthcare and life sciences is really about expanding what's possible. So we really want to make sure that we can move this forward, and that we can really have kind of this cutting edge technology, which is overall better for society as a whole. So essentially, what I also liked here is that we want more for less, right? We want to ensure that we're getting more possibilities, more innovation for less cost, less complexity, less time, in a way that kind of expands what we can make possible. And so this is really what we're looking for in terms of health innovation. We can facilitate the data to encourage this innovation across to encourage innovation. So some challenges that are, highly specific to healthcare innovation are the data is sensitive to paper. So we know that this is true. We know that healthcare data is highly sensitive. It's very individual. It's highly sensitive. We want to make sure that it's protected. We want to make sure that everything is secured. We know that the industry is highly regulated. We all are aware of HIPAA here, and that and other regulations that protect the sensitive information. And we know that it can really slow treatment. These regulations can impact how quickly data is shared across different systems, across different individuals. And we really want to make sure that there's innovation. So even in a highly regulated industry, we want to make sure that we're always compliant and that we're always secure. And then, of course, we know that we have this shared responsibility, right? These systems are very dispersed, disparate, and very broad. There are a number of different healthcare systems that are all under one umbrella. We have different users and providers. There's different analytics groups. There's different groups all over that require access to data. But there needs to be some form of shared responsibility for the organization as a whole. And this is very or incredibly difficult to do with these very disparate systems that are kind of all over, that are kind of spread and broad. So I really like this characterization of healthcare. We can kind of see how broad and disparate the entire spectrum is. We can see that there are a number of, and we all know that there are a number of different groups that have to touch the data, from key activities and key partners to intermediaries and buyers, and also to analytics and treatment. So, and everybody's using a different, possibly a different data store or a different method, and we have these different systems, and we need to make sure that we have compliance and that we have security across all of these while enabling all of these different groups to get this access to data really quickly. So it's really, really important that we can move this data quickly, but securely. And so we want to make sure that we do that in a single kind of unifying solution to ensure that the data goes where it's needed, but it does it in an innovative way, saving time, saving money, and reducing complexity while sort of expanding this realm of possibilities. So we've kind of made this case now for health innovation. And the question kind of then is, does data security or do these data security requirements stop, block, or limit innovation? And therefore, improvements in how to do this. So the short answer, if you have a data security platform, no. We can actually use data security to drive innovation if we have a platform that permits it. If you don't, have a data security platform, securing data can significantly slow the movement of data, which can limit innovation within healthcare and the use of healthcare and life science data.
Hey, Lisa, two things. I might ask you to just turn off your video. I know you're in Israel, just because sometimes your audio may get garbled, and I want to make sure it's not a bandwidth issue. The other thing that I want to do is, there was one question, and I'm going to see if John Venturella can add any more information to ask this in terms of how do you go about, before we get into the details, how do you go about identifying sensitive data? Do you have your own file system that users can deploy to track data? And can you make that grander within a database, or you're taking categorization from other platforms? John, do you want to add anything to that? I just unmuted you. Or maybe John can't speak. I'm not sure.
Hey, can you hear me?
Now I can, John. Yep.
I mean, I don't have a lot to add. I was just curious because I run into a lot of, I perform audits, and a lot of the people that we meet with are very curious about ways to identify the best ways to identify PII and stuff of that sort in the environment across the board.
Okay.
They've tried many different methods over the years, and nothing's really fantastic. So just was curious how Satori worked. We hadn't heard of you.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
okay.
And John, what I will do is make sure I do a follow-up email introduction to you and Lisa that can dive into it. You're with the university, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and we'll follow up with that. Why don't you answer that, Lisa? I'm gonna
Sure.
I'm gonna mute John now, and as well as myself.
Okay, yeah, we have an automated data discovery and classification with Satori. So basically, Satori kind of sits on top of the data, and it then searches out, or it automatically searches for sensitive data as defined according to your parameters, and locates and classifies that data automatically. I'm not sure if that fully answers your question. I'd be happy to follow up with an email exactly how we go through the whole entire process of doing that. So I'm going to continue with data security and driving innovation. So really the purpose here is that we use data security to drive innovation and break the trade-off between productivity and innovation and security. So really, by enabling the movement of data quickly and easily through the organization, data, that can sometimes be hidden, or access to this data is sometimes blocked through manual processes, which can slow the use of data. We really are able to ensure that data is discovered, that it's continuously classified, that it's automated, and that we can find this and use this so that we can easily move data to those places where it's necessary in order to drive this type of innovation. We have automated employee permissions. We need to make sure that employees get the data that they need when they need it. Automating access to data is one way to do this. It's important to ensure that this data goes where it's needed with the appropriate masking policies, whatever those may be, and ensuring that once granted permissions, that these permissions are revoked after the requisite time. And then, of course, the third is a solution for compliance regulations. We need to find a way to deal with compliance concerns. And really, this kind of boils down to making sure that your organization is always audit ready. And I think that this compliance issue is something that needs a little bit more detail. So we're going to kind of talk about that a little bit. In thinking about compliance, compliance can be a significant blocker for moving data quickly and easily, right? Failing an audit is detrimental for the organization. We know that the result, there are significant project delays, there can be fines, there can be even reputational damages, which are difficult to recover from. Further, getting ready for an audit can take up a significant amount of time and energy and resources that are diverted from other, profit and innovative options. HIPAA, of course, is the main regulation that most organizations that deal with healthcare and life science data need to meet. But it's more than just meeting the requirements, right? Just ticking off a box to say that we've met the minimum standards isn't necessarily going to be enough to ensure that you're always compliant ready, and that it's not always going to take a huge investment or initial investment into compliance to ensure to get audit ready. And that investment can be time and resources and costs, and everything that we talked about innovation is not being. So, taking a very top-down approach can slow, which is slow to implement and requires a tremendous amount of time and resources, especially from engineering and DevOps teams. We need to have somebody to write these policies. They then need to be implemented. And often these are manual processes that require significant time and effort. So this is the very opposite of what we define in terms of innovation. And so instead, a bottom-up approach where compliance is already taken care of in an automated way, it's easy to implement and monitor, ensures that this doesn't require tremendous amounts of time and energy. So we think that being audit ready is the way to ensure that you have the infrastructure and information ready. So this is why a data security platform is a great solution for enabling the quick and easy movement and access to healthcare data that kind of spurs this innovation. We get a single and unified approach across wide and disparate databases, data warehouses, lakes, systems, and users. And so instead of relying on error-prone manual processes, we have all of these automated processes that reduce the sort of chances of human errors, but ensure that sensitive data is, first of all, located, then classified and masked, and then we have controlled access without missing any of the data or stopping the flow of data, which is critical for the innovation. We want something that's easily scalable as the organization grows, and we want to have reliance on an automated process. So this is basically what Satori does, right? Satori is a data security platform that basically ensures that we get immediate access to data. We get this sharing. We have automated controls for security and compliance, and that we ensure that data is secure and that it can be moved quickly and easily. This means that data engineers and DevOps teams don't spend a huge amount of their time and resources granting and revoking access, and that individuals can move this along quickly to the areas where it's needed in order to take advantage of this innovation. So the first 2 to 3 pillars of a data security platform, of course, are data discovery and classification. So we actually have this sort of dashboard that shows us how the basic classifications and what you can find in your data. This is automated so that we can have all the discovery and classification of assets and sensitive data across all of your databases, all of your data stores, right? We continuously detect sensitive data so that you always have an updated data inventory. This is really helpful for the dynamic masking of sensitive data, and we can integrate the data catalogs continuously, and so that they're always up to date. We also apply the appropriate masking policies. This is going to be dependent on roles or attributes. We have, and I think this is a pretty neat aspect of our data security platform, we have a personal data portal where you can see what data is actually available, which is listed under the My Data. The available data sets are underneath. And so all you have to do if you want some of the available data sets is click for self-service through a number of different tools. You can do it through Slack or Jira, or any one of those tools, and you can get access to this data within seconds. And it does have a time limit, so it is revoked after the specified period of time. So we have this automated access to data. It provides great visibility and control, so that we always know where all of our access is going on. We know how our data is classified. We have the identity and the security policies. We can get this value from the data access logs, so you can always meet your security and compliance requirements. We have overall data security posture. It helps us to see exactly where all of our governed assets are, where our authorized users are. What's really neat about this is that this is a really proactive approach to improving your data security posture. We have this ability to monitor and analyze all of your new data and authorizations. So we know who's accessing what data and when, and this kind of lets you stay a step ahead in terms of your cloud data security platform. I know this is really fast, but to summarize, it really ensures that you can save resources, a data security platform that you can save resources, ensure faster access to data, and meet your compliance automation, your compliance requirements through automation. And so as a parting thought, I know this is a long quote, but what I really want to talk about here is Innovacer, which is a big healthcare company. How Satori really helped them to kind of power growth while remaining compliant was they had a number of different multiple platforms that they needed to connect that contained patient data. And so Satori really helped them to identify PII and PHI in real time, continuously updating their data inventory and security policies. We had enforced dynamic masking according to Innovacer's policies. And then we were able to apply data filtering and security policies based on the different roles or attributes that they wanted. And so that kind of sums up how a data security platform can really help ensure data security and drive innovation within healthcare and life sciences. If you want to learn more, please be in touch with us at Satori for an individualized consulting call, or try out our free test drive, which is pretty cool. You get to play with it, Satori right there almost instantaneously. Thank you very much for your time.